Hi folks, welcome back to 10.1 Parabolas. So in this video we're going to go through a bunch of examples. Some we'll go over, some will just be on the answer key that is posted in Canvas, but we'll try and do at least a few examples of each type. Alright, so let's start with question number 1. So in question number 1, we're asked to complete the missing information in this table. So we're given an equation and we have to find the shape, the p-value, the vertex, the focus, and the directrix. And we need to graph it. So in this particular case, I know based off of this format, I have a y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h squared. That I know that I have a parabola, and I could even be more specific and say that I have a sideways parabola. So it's either going to be facing like this or it's going to be facing like this. That's what I mean when I say shape. Now we have to find the p-value. So in order to find that, we're going to match up the parts of the equation. So 4p is in the same place as the 16. So we're going to say 4p equals negative 16. And that gives us p equal to negative 4. Okay? Now I know that p we said in the last value was in the last video is a positive number. Now what this negative part tells us is this. This negative sign means that my parabola is facing to that left, okay? So that sign helps us determine the direction of the parabola. All right, to find the vertex, I'm simply going to take the h value and the k value. Now you have to be careful here because we need to switch the signs for both of these. So for example, the x value of my vertex is not positive 3, but it's negative 3 because it's x minus h, so it'd be x minus negative 3. And the y value of the vertex is not negative 1, but it's positive 1. So maybe make a note to yourself to switch signs. Alright, so now let's take a look at this other information. Well, I know that I think I have enough information to sketch a diagram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my vertex on the graph. So negative 3, 1, here's my vertex. And at the same time, I'm going to think, where is my focus? So my focus is going to be 4 units to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can find my focus that way, or I can follow the equation from the previous slide and I can say negative 3 minus 4, 1, or negative 7, 1. All right. Either way works, but again, I think this is a great example of why it's helpful to have a diagram in case you forget the formula, you can still kind of figure it out. Now let's figure out what our directrix is. So our directrix is going to be in the opposite direction, 4 units, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to be a vertical line . And so that equation is going to be x equals negative 3 plus 4, or x equals a 1. All right? Now it's really important you have that x. If you just say 1, I have no idea what you mean. 1 what? So be specific, tell me you know it's a line, and write x equals 1. Now as far as the graph, I don't expect you to get much more specific than this. I really just want you to kind of sketch something like this, all right? But what I'm looking for is that you can find the focus, the vertex, and the directrix, and have the right direction. All right, so let's move on to example number 2. All right, example number 2, let's see what we have here. Well, it looks like we have like an x minus h squared equals 4py minus k squared. All right. So based off of that, I know I have a parabola. And I know my options are it could face up or it could face down. When I find my p-value, that will tell me which one it is. So to find our p-value, we're going to take 4p. We're going to set it equal to 8. So 4p equals 8, so p equals 2. All right, that number is positive. So what that tells us is that it's going to be facing up. It's not going to be facing down. All right, now let's find the vertex. Well, the vertex would be h comma k, and it doesn't look like there's any in the equation, so guess what they are? 0, comma 0. So this time we have a parabola that has a vertex at the origin. And so that's just going to be right here. Now while I'm here, I'm going to count up 2 units for my focus. And I'm going to think, how could I find this using the equation? Well, that's going to be 0, comma, 0 plus 2, or 0, comma 2. All right, last part is the directrix. So directrix is going to be 2 units, but below the vertex, and it's going to be a line. So I'm going to write y equals 0 minus 2, or y equals negative 2 to be the equation of my directrix. Again, don't just give me a number. Show me that you know what it means by showing me the proper notation that it is in fact a horizontal line. Beyond that, we can just kind of sketch the rest of it and call it a day. All right? So again, I'm looking for the proper p-value, the vertex, the focus, the directrix, and the rest you can kind of sketch. All right, let's take a look at example 3. So example 3 here. Wow, that looks a lot different than some of the other stuff that we've done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation and we're going to rewrite it down below. And guess what it's time for? It is time for us to use the completing the square that we learned in video 1. All right, so x squared minus 8x minus 28y minus 208 equals 0. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these two and I'm going to move them to the other side. X squared minus 8x equals 28y plus 208. Okay, here's our completing the square. So instead of x squared minus 8x, we want to think, okay, if 8 is how much I would add to a whole side for a rectangle, what's half of that? Half of that is going to be 4. And then we need to take away that green square, which is going to be 4 squared. All right, so 8 cut in half gives me 4, and then 4 squared is what I need to subtract. 28y plus 208. All right, so x minus 4 squared equals 28y plus 208 plus 16. X minus 4 squared equals 28y plus 224. And we're super close to getting it in the form that we need. We're going to factor out this 28. We get y plus 8. Okay? Now we have something that is in x minus h squared equals 4p y minus k. All right, so this is exactly why we needed to learn how to complete the square. And when you get to calculus, this is going to be just a small part of a bigger problem. So you really want to make sure that this procedure is very easy for you. All right, So I'm going to identify my vertex, which is 4 comma negative 8, or 4 comma negative 8. And I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. So my vertex is going to be 4 comma negative 8. I now know that this is a parabola. And let me actually go ahead and rewrite that equation up here so we have easy access to it. X minus 4 squared equals 28y plus 8. All right, so my choices are facing up or facing down. Facing up if I have a positive p-value, facing down if I have a negative p-value. So 4p is going to equal 28, or p equals 7. All right, so p equals 7 is positive. That means it's going to be a parabola facing up. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw my vertex. So negative, or 4 comma negative 8. All right. Now I'm going to draw my focus, which is I'm going to count up 7 units from here. So it's going to be like right here. And I'm going to draw my directrix, which is going to be 7 units below this. So 2, 4, 6, 7. All right. Now I can go ahead and kind of sketch my parabola. And I end up with a diagram kind of like this. Now I still have to find my focus, so let's make sure that we find our focus. We can do 4 comma negative 7 plus p, and that gives us 4 comma negative 1, which is the same thing we got on the graph, so that's good. And then the directrix is going to be y equals negative 8 minus p, or y equals negative 15. All right? So this seems like a good place to stop for video number 2. Come on back and we'll do a few more examples. See you there.